this sounds like?
What does it sound like?
If we could turn that time.
Now that you said Dashboard or Confessionals, I can't get that out of my head.
Take me away, yeah. Where's the violin for Yellow Card? Because that's what this is right here.
Yellow
Ooh,
Card.
yeah,
mixed
yeah.
with, like again, like Dashboard Light. Dashboard.
I can totally hear that. The vindicated.
Oh my god. I love Dashboard Confessional, by the way.
Genuinely love them. Was not making
Love,
fun.
love,
yeah.
love.
I'm leaving this. Okay. Hello. Kate, Dykstra, Mackenzie, whoever else.
Ryder,
is here.
hello.
I have no idea.
Why is
I
my
still
thing
feel
not
like.
showing up? Hang on here. Oh,
We
I
got
gotta click
8
here.
people.
I see.
I know, but I don't know if you're here if you don't talk. I'm not paying attention.
I know. Tell us hello, guys. And 2 of them are
Happy
me and
New
Andrew,
Year.
at least.
And girls. Oh my word, Lauren. How?
Guys is a ubiquitous term. I don't really mean it with a gender.
Guys with a Z is ubiquitous.
Wow. We'll see. Kreider says, "Hey everyone."
Maybe
Hello, hello,
ubiquitous, but I don't.
Our ubiquitous.
I
That's where
just
we played our
definitely
local
don't say
club
you
of
guys,
events.
actually meaning only dudes.
I say
Yeah.
use guys.
I feel
Use
like that would be a
guys,
good
then
watch.
it's-
I'm sorry.
I
Y'all
don't-
can keep
that's-
talking. It's fine. I'm talking to Kreider. Y'all are
Oh,
welcome.
I
to
would
keep
love
talking
to
each
see
other,
them. Yeah,
so.
that would be a great band to go see.
I mean, hey Jedi. I mean, like in terms of ability, like I think they would be. I think they'd be a good live show as well. Like I like their music,
Oh,
but
yeah.
there's other people I love their music and their live shows just like garbage. But
That's happened sometimes where you are let down by the live show.
Can we just for 1 second poll the audience? Are you guys seeing glitch videos on your end?
Drummer Steve, hey pretty girl Becca. What do you mean
Drummer
glitch
Steve
videos?
is my
Andrew?
brother-in-law. That is
Oh,
You
hi.
guys both
We all
know
met
him.
recently.
You guys have met. Hi, brother.
Yeah, I was just thinking the exact same thing, Andrew.
Is the Twitch video, are our videos glitching every
You know what?
30
If
to
they
45
are-
seconds?
If they are, I'm just adding it to the list. It's amazing how quickly I can just fall out of love with something, and I am so
we hate
fully
restream
out
now.
of love.
Oh,
Yeah.
We were the
Garbage.
biggest advocates for it. I
genuinely thought it was great at first, but now that it is.
Now I'm done.
just forget it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How dare you?
Man,
Things
we've
have
got,
changed, guys.
it feels like it's been forever since we've talked, but it's only been a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, we only skipped 1 week. Yeah.
But we saw each other and we hung out, and we honestly, we should have had a microphone because when we hung out,
everyone
was quite
too
fun.
tired.
No.
But it was
I'm
really
saying-
fun to hang out. Yeah.
We should have just captured what we were doing.
Well, we do
Instead
have
of, like-
video of us playing Wombat, the bad Wombat game.
Wicked Wombats.
The Wicked Wombats.
Everybody help me pick my R character. I've narrowed it to Roger Klotz, really, really big man, Rocky, or Retaxas. I don't know.
Just do Roger Rabbit.
Oh, I really like the choice of really, really big man. I haven't thought about that in a long
but
time.
I would do
I
Roger
think it was
Rabbit. Because that's a
Ren and
double R.
Stimpy?
You get a triple word score on that.
Have you ever like categories when you have to do that? Yeah.
When I was a kid, I said wabbit. I had to do speech therapy. So you just said it's a double R, and I was thinking, no, it's not. It's a double R.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I do
Genuinely,
like
that's what I
Roger
thought.
Klotz as well from Doug.
I thought it was Klutz. Is it Klotz? I mean, obviously,
Roger
Kreider
I
Klotz.
don't
knows better.
remember.
From Doug.
I knew that
From
that's.
Kreider
Who,
knows
I'm
better
pretty
than-
sure that
I-
that's who he meant. Whether or not it's Klutz or Klutz or Klotz, or
No,
I
no,
don't
that
know
means-
what I'm saying anymore.
Of course, that's who he means. And I know, Kreider, you know better than me. I just thought it was, in my mind, if someone said, like, this was trivia and spelling mattered, I would miss it. Andrew, can you give me a little bit more volume on your mic, by the way?
Here's a
and
microphone.
I know you're saying it's been 1 week, but for our listeners, it's been 2 weeks.
It's been.
So why is my microphone quieter, do you think?
There's no way of
Because
knowing.
I've not changed any settings. This is my normal podcast setting.
You
Who
literally
knows?
moved everything that you own and
Shit.
reset up everything you own.
Okay, this is the third week that I've used this same podcast setting.
Well,
Doubt
things
it.
happen. A
Is
lot of
this-
things have changed since the last time we podcasted.
Is this
Cooper
wait,
waits
sorry.
until you go to bed, and he turns
Yes.
it on and he presses buttons.
Is
I know
this
for
better?
Sure that's what he does. Yeah,
Is
it's
this better? Okay, great.
Jedi, I was reminded to resub with a commercial. Well, then thank you, Twitch, for the assist. Because I actually we don't even have commercials like ads turned on. But I think Twitch just runs them anyway. Like I think everybody has to see one. It's one of these things they do.
My guys,
the rule now.
this Twitch stream, like we are glitchy as.
Really, I'm
Everybody
watching it
else
and it
said it's
seems
not.
fine on my end.
Okay,
yeah, I
then
don't see any
I'm
because I have it
rewatching
like
mine.
up and down, and I don't see anything wrong.
It's your new apartment. It's
I'm
absolutely your
rewatching
new apartment. It's not
haunted.
Twitch. Rocky the Squirrel. Okay. Kreider, I don't care who you do.
Does it have to be a
Because
cartoon
whoever you
character,
do,
Kreider?
It's gonna be
That starts
great.
with an R?
Okay, if it's not a cartoon character, who would you pick, Lauren?
I don't know. I guess
You
like I
asked
was
that
trying to narrow it
question
down. Yeah, yeah.
As though you had like something.
you could
loaded
do
and
Robin
you don't.
Williams. That's a great R one.
Why? What's your
do,
problem? What's your problem,
um,
Kreider, with Roger Rabbit? Is it just because it's not obscure enough? Is that the issue?
Maybe he's just done it before.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, it
Wait,
has
wait,
to be
you
a
gotta
cartoon, hand drawn.
Okay, hand drawn. Okay. Well, you had a good list. I don't need to throw you any suggestions, but
That's
Yeah,
her way of
if
saying that
from
she
that-
can't think of anything else.
From that
yeah,
list,
that too.
Kreider,
But it was a good look.
all of Rugrats. Just
from
all
that
of
list,
Rugrats.
Kreider.
I
from that
so
list,
approve of
I
the
think-
spelling, Mackenzie. Yes.
I think Roger Klotz is a good one based on the other ones that you've been doing. You've been doing much more obscure characters. But what's your problem with Roger Rabbit? I mean, that would be a fun one.
He said he doesn't. He doesn't like him. That's what he just said.
He does
I
not
feel like
say
he's
that.
certainly drawn him before.
Okay, I've got an idea.
Oh,
The
he didn't
ramen
think of
noodle
him.
mascot.
He's just ignoring all of my questions. Is the thing.
No, he did answer. He did answer. he says,
where?
"I have no affinity for that character." TBH, and I
Your
didn't really think of
computer
him at all.
is broken, Andrew. Just you. Twitch is broken for you. You
Wait
don't
a
see
I
minute.
was like,
chat.
"Hang on,
don't
hang
know
on,
what
I
to
got
tell you.
this."
Is this not on our Zynga page?
Okay.
Here, look, I pulled
what-
it up for you.
You have no
Quickly,
affinity
quickly.
for that character? Get out of here.
Okay.
Get out of here.
For your Zanga, what theme did you use? What was the background of your Zanga? Because everybody got to set a theme. I know mine for sure.
Fully remember this. Yes.
Okay.
So I don't remember the name of it, but it was like a gray kind of like night sky, and it like faded down. And I definitely remember my username, which was Pilot07, because I loved Gundam Wing at the time.
I don't think you should have told us that. Andrew, do you remember your Zanga thing?
Doesn't exist anymore.
It was a grungy, like dark gray and orange texture. Like the orange texture was
Yes.
like lots of like silhouetted shapes of things tucked into a grunge texture. It was like, if I went back and looked at it now, if I like way back machined it, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's probably still set.
So
Yeah.
for a while, I just had something dumb like a little dinosaur on it. But Zanga and Arrested Development had overlap. So the last theme
Oh my gosh, I
had
remember this.
had was it Job? And it said like a trick is something a whore does for money or
A trick is what a
cocaine.
whore does for money, Michael.
That
or
that was
candy.
literally
No,
Yeah.
I think it's like, yeah, he corrects himself because he realizes the kids are
There's a
listening.
kid there,
He's
and
like,
he says, "Or candy."
candy. Yeah, yeah.
But
like,
that
I'm
was
trying
the
to
theme
remember
on
this now.
mine. Was an Arrested
Illusions,
Development theme.
Michael.
This is like the third Arrested Development reference we've had already because of the "Hey, brother."
Oh, this is really sweet of them to chime in.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
hey,
that's-
awesome.
That's super great. The thing is with Twitch, I can never figure out how to block someone as quickly as possible. That's the
Well,
part
they
that
at
always
least get the
annoys me.
chance to comment before we can do something about it, unfortunately. So,
Oh, guys, can I just be honest for a second? I'm gonna
Yes.
lie the
Tired.
rest of the time.
yeah.
But I'm
typical.
just gonna be honest for just a second. I have got to get this set up better because this is just nonsense. Like everything is still, I'm still living. There's just a wall of boxes behind me. It's better than what it was before because there's a bed back here now. But gosh, when I walk in here, this room stresses me out.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Nice.
Okay,
Mine stresses me out, but that's also because I have a bunch of your stuff over here.
it's my stuff that's stressing me
Just
out.
kidding. You and I both suffer from the same problem right now.
Yeah.
Hey, from what I understand, you have way less stuff at your house now.
I do have way less stuff in my house. That's true.
That is true.
No, I'm just kidding. Your stuff's not in the way. It will be eventually.
Did you get your hair cut? It looks shorter. Patrick.
I did.
Not before though. I know you got it done before the wedding. It looks almost buzzed from this.
No.
Like, if
I
anything,
haven't.
technically,
I
my
need
hair
to
is
schedule it.
longer than we last.
All right, are we ready to talk? Are we ready to do this thing?
I guess.
Very
so.
ready. Let's go.
Let's do it. I've got stuff
Okay.
to show you guys and to talk about.
I'm sure
So
you do.
let's get rolling. I'm still dining out on leftover beer.
Not
have,
surprised.
Hilarious.
We'll
I
have
have some
beer
wine
for
tonight.
we'll have beer for probably the next month.
Great.
Only 1 month, exactly.
Here we go. Well, we took a lot of it back and we gave some to Patrick.
I know, but I'm teasing that.
Okay, here we go. 3 and 2 and 1 and not bad.
We did.
Well, welcome to what?
I said we did it. Sorry.
Oh, beep, beep. That's what I heard. Here we go. Welcome to episode 540 of the Pop Culture Roundtable, the podcast that's only crime is loving too much. In this episode, we talk about Blue Eye Samurai, the Traitors, and crossword puzzles. I'm Andrew Sale.
I'm Lauren Rubin.
I'm Patrick Hill.
So start getting your Valentine list in order because this love fest is about to get underway.
It's too soon for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Well, tell that to Target.
We're home
Tell that
month
to
away.
H-E-B.
Hey, that's how holidays work now. I fully understand that, but I don't buy that.
HEB has like 3 whole aisles dedicated to Valentine's Day. Just saw
I
it
went
today.
to HEB like in preparation for this like freeze, and it was just insanity.
Oh, you're part of the problem.
I want to clarify
I
something.
had to get groceries.
I want to clarify something here.
I went to a wedding. I was busy.
Jedi. We have so much liquor. We kept a bunch so that we could make like our specialty cocktails, but we took some back. Not everything. We took some back. We took about $225 worth of liquor back, and we still have enough liquor for the 2 of us for the next year. Like if no one came over and we didn't
Just
share
a
with
1 year
anyone,
supply.
we still have plenty of liquor. So don't worry about that. We didn't return everything. Okay. We like to kick off every episode by going around the table, which is where we talk about things that are new, fun, and noteworthy about our weeks. Lauren, what did you do this week?
I feel like you have to go first though, because like you got married. last
I
week.
did get married, but to be fair though,
Still,
I
it's
feel
actually
like
still this week.
I feel like we all got married. Because it was an event for so many people and bringing so many people together from all over the country. And it truly was just like this. It was so nice to have everybody here and to have everything. Now, I was exhausted after everybody left because it was a long
I appreciated that you guys
process.
let me stay an extra day because I know you guys
Sure.
were tired, but it was fun to get to hang out.
It
Let
was.
me
And then
throw
we
this
also
out
got to
there.
have...
No, go ahead. What did we get to have?
We got to have like one-on-one time with Lauren too. So we got to have just like us time,
Yeah, just
which was
us.
nice.
Mhm.
Sure. I do want to just real quick confess, and that's that by the time your wedding happened,
Mhm.
I was so ready to just not be at a wedding.
Yeah.
Because so much happened on, and I know it was more for you, but for me, it was like so much on Thursday, and
Oh, it
on
was more for
Friday,
me. Okay.
and on Saturday, and on Sunday, and then the wedding rolled around. And everybody that was showing up for the wedding was like so excited. It was such a great event. And they were coming up to talk to me about how exciting it was. And I was like, go away. Like, I'm done. Like, this is,
You're like, I've been
You're-
living this. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm good.
you're on hour 2. I'm on like day 5 of this. So like,
It was like a full-on wedding week is what it felt like. I mean, it was
I mean, it was everything went off so perfect though, and like everything was decorated, everything was planned out. Like you guys did such a good job though, so like all that work, like I think paid off like majorly.
I hope so. I mean, I think I was so
At least from
stressed
the
out.
outside.
I was so stressed out that I developed a sty the first night of the bachelor
Oh,
party.
It looked very
And
painful.
it was at its apex on wedding day.
you know the cartoons where like you see a bump and you zoom in on it and it has like a face and arms and a personality? That's what it looked like on your
Yeah,
face.
my
It made me think
by,
of my big fat Greek wedding where she wakes up, she's like, I have a huge zit right now.
by wedding day, it had developed its own personality. We named him Jean Claude, and he gave a great speech. If I'm being honest, it was one that it
was
moved
very
me.
moving.
It brought me to tears. But gosh, that was the only thing. I was so stressed out for all the logistics, and at the end of the day, everything was great and smooth and fun, and the food was incredible, and the decorations and everything, which I had very little to do with. The design stuff, I have something I'm going to show people later, but this piece was fun.
Oh, I loved that. That was really, really a great idea.
Actually, I'll just talk about that now, and then I'll talk
Yeah,
about
I was
the
like, I feel
specific
like
piece.
we can't skip this. It has to be first. Like,
But there is a specific piece I'm going to talk about later when Patrick's talking. So, but in preparation for that, I did these newspapers, and you obviously can't read them, but there's a newspaper that's got an article from Becca and I, and then it's got the list of events and a thank you
the
area.
itinerary.
Yeah, a thank you area, and then
Cute pictures
some
and articles
quotes
about
and
you
some
guys.
things like that.
Yeah.
And then there was a primary game that we played instead of doing like the garter and the
Wait.
bouquet.
You have to show the back because like you had the little speeches from everybody.
I'm gonna show it. I'm showing.
Lauren
You
is
see-
more excited than you because
you see
It was
that
so
there's
cute.
telling it all.
there's a front and then there's a back. I'm going over the front at this current point. Okay, so down here, instead of doing the garter and the bouquet toss, we did a spot all the Mickeys game, and so we gave away prizes because we thought that was better. Most of the people who were there, with the exception of like maybe 2 people, were married and they came with their spouse or whoever. Like, so it was like, why throw a bouquet to 2 people, or why have a garter tossed to Cooper, right? Like, it just didn't make sense.
Cooper and me.
You and Cooper are going out there like diving for this thing. So we did this game, and we did hidden Mickeys all over the wedding, in the ceremony and in the reception, and all different places. And so it was super, super fun. But then on the back side of it, what Lauren is so excited to talk about.
It was so cute.
Is rather than doing speeches, we had our wedding party write articles about us. And they were super sweet. Some of them were fun, some of them were funny, some of them were very moving. Becca's brother wrote a classified ad selling his sister. It said "sister for sale," and "sale" was in quotes. And it was just a lot of fun. And then there was something else too that Patrick contributed to that we're going to talk about a little bit later on. That's at the bottom. But it was so fun. I really enjoyed the wedding. I enjoyed all the people coming into town, meeting Becca's family, who I'd heard about for years, and then her best friends and stuff. Like, it was just a lot of fun. Food and drinks were incredible, and yeah, it all went off without a hitch. And we leave in about 36 hours for our honeymoon, and we're hopping on a Disney cruise and heading to the Caribbean. So the next time you see us, we will hopefully have had a lot more food and
Maybe
gotten a lot more sun. So, but yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And I feel like I just want to show you guys one more thing. I know we talked about the wedding quite a bit, and we got one wedding gift that was not on our registry, but we got it from our friend JP, friend of the show. And he got us this. I'm going to see if I can try to show this without knocking things off. But we got this.
Oh, this was
We
awesome.
got this Disney 100 limited edition Mickey and Minnie figure, and it is specifically, I'm going to take the sleeve off of it so you can see it, but it does have like a magnetic box that opens up like at the center. But I'm going to take that off just so that I don't knock things off. These are figures created to reflect the actual meet and greet park figures of Mickey and Minnie. And this is their costume. So it looks like Mickey and Minnie that you would see in the parks. And so freaking cool. These are not cheap.
Yeah, and even the display, like the box it comes in, is really cool.
Yeah, the box can be displayed in like 3 different ways. But it's really, really neat. And they're essentially what you would see if you go to the park to take pictures with Mickey and Minnie, and they're in their Disney 100 costume. Not cheap, and they were the last 2 he got one for he and Michaela, and then he got one for Becca and I. And so very grateful to him for that. Super fun. Okay, I have other things that I could show, but instead I'm just going to pass it off and I can show things at a different time. But Lauren, I'm going to throw it back to you now.
Yeah. Sorry. I just feel like we had to acknowledge that. It was too big of a thing to not talk about first.
Sure.
And it took up a good chunk of my week. So yeah, the wedding was awesome. I had so much fun. Thanks for having me. I have watched a lot of movies since Christmas, just trying to catch up with all the Oscar stuff. I won't bore you with all of them, but I do want to talk about just two of them. I watched The Holdovers, which was like a perfect Christmas movie. This was on my radar because Will was talking about it so much, and I don't know if he's here tonight. But I thought this movie was great. It's like a really good Christmas movie. The kind of setup is like the kids who get left behind at a college or like a boarding school for the Christmas break, and like Paul Giamatti is kind of like the cranky teacher who gets stuck kind of babysitting the kids, and it has a lot of kind of unexpected ways that the story goes that make this a little more special than like kind of what I thought it was going to be when we set out, because we at first were like, oh, all these kids are going to have a story, I see where this is going, and it definitely like surprised all of us that were watching in a really positive, fun way. And like we were watching it with people who have very different tastes in movies, and everyone liked it, and it is like truly a Christmas movie because it takes place over Christmas and all that. So I really liked it. Some of the actors won Golden Globes last night, so like it's getting some great buzz and everything. It was a really great movie, and I recommend checking it out. I think it is now available on it's either Peacock or Paramount, and I can't remember which one. You guys might have to look it up and help me out. But it is available for streaming for free on one of those services, so definitely worth checking out. It's getting a couple Oscar nominations and stuff, so that's why it was on our list. And then I also checked out Saltburn, which is a movie I've been dying to check out for a while. It's kind of like the buzzy A24 movie of the year. It is worth all the buzz, I think. Like, it's a weird movie. Most people who like it aren't going to like, or who see it probably won't like it. But I think like it's just one of those movies that like you feel very strongly one way or another after you're done. But I loved it. Like, Andrew, you'll hate this movie. I can tell you just from the beginning.
Let me ask you this. How often do you see a movie that you have a strong feeling about, probably a strong positive feeling, and like one of your earliest thoughts is, Andrew would hate this?
Many times. But I think we just have different tastes in movies, especially when it's one movies that will push your buttons and kind of, like make you kind of question stuff. Like, I think we kind of land on different sides sometimes.
Hang on. Let's pause for a second. Before anyone accuses anyone of yum yucking, all right? I've decided to take on a new leaf.
We just have different tastes. I didn't mean anything.
I said hang on. Let's hang on. Hang on means everyone just hold on for a second. I've made a determination in my own mind because I was listening back to the last episode we released, and I was thinking like I wasn't even yucking yums, but Patrick was already accusing me of it because of how I typically am more vocal about things like Bravo, like the Bravo shows and Housewives and things like that or whatever. A24 films specifically. And
Right.
Mackenzie said something too.
Bravo and A24.
Those are like the two things that I feel
A24
like.
is truly the one that I think Andrew hates the most. Like, we might swam on Bravo one day.
So what tipped me over the scales with this is the other night, Mackenzie was talking about, we were watching the show that I'm actually going to be talking about in my my category.
There's Bravo celebrities on that show.
Right. And in that conversation, she got a little defensive when I just mentioned something about Bravo. And I realized like, oh, that must really be how I like really be what I put out there, that like I'm really vocal against these things. And I've determined that I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to let you talk about things that you like. And if I don't like them, like that's fine. But the idea that that we have such polar, like different opinions about things is I think part of what makes this show actually helpful, because we don't all think the same thing about the same thing. So I think that's actually a really good thing.
No, it is. And I think I'll
actually-
also play devil's advocate and say all Bravo lovers feel a certain amount of shame and need to defend themselves with like everyone who doesn't also watch Bravo, because I've just lived this life for a long time now.
Lauren said Mackenzie should feel shame. The funny
No,
thing
I
is,
mean,
of
like this
all
is
the
where we're
people,
put. This is the corner we live in.
of all the people in our community, Andrew is not the most opposed to Not Coolco. Like, I would say that if they're like, they align on 70-30, that's probably where I would put them. Whereas there are some other people in our community that I think it's more like unalign on 80, align on 20. 20,
Oh, sure.
80.
Yeah.
That's how I would say it.
With Lauren,
no,
I
no,
would
no,
love I would love
I was
for
saying
you
with
to
Lauren,
say,
you're closer
Name them.
than you are with
Name-
some other people.
Name them.
then I am with some other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. So here's the thing. All right, I was playing this game. This is total diversion, but you know what? We're here. This is what we're talking about.
I know, it's okay. I'm gonna be quick.
I was playing this game that you guys are very familiar with, Secret Hitler. We've played this before. At least I know, Patrick, you've played Secret Hitler with us before quite a bit. I tried playing this game with coworkers the other day because I redug this game up and I was like, oh, I really like this game. And it's a quick play game. So I decided to introduce it to some coworkers. And I work with a couple of women who are in their... I'm going to take a guess here, and I could be totally wrong.
Oh, do you want me to take a guess?
I'm going to say probably mid-60s. That's going to be my guess. All right. And that's a safe guess. And she could not get over. She's like, well, I'm not a liberal or a fascist. And she said this game is giving conservatives a bad name. And she's like, I'm like, no, I said, don't think of it that way. Just think of it as Nazis and non-Nazis. And then
Think
someone
of it
was
as
like
purples versus greens.
and
It doesn't
someone
matter.
was like,
This seems like you're really overthinking this. Like,
legitimately, someone started talking about the geopolitical climate of what happened and what fascists actually were in relation to this, and liberals and I'm like, I said, you guys have just got to set the theming aside and just appreciate the gameplay, like the mechanics of it or whatever.
they need werewolf or whatever.
And so I say all this to say, like, it was like this back and forth, and it was honestly so maddening and frustrating. And then my friend Chad spoke up and he said, you know, I play games and he likes Secret Hitler. He was actually vying to play it. And he said, you know what? I play games in here sometimes that I don't like, but I play these games to enjoy time with you guys, like to spend time with you all. And it was that moment where I was like that was such a helpful thing hopefully for them to hear, but it was helpful for me to hear because it diffused me a little bit. And I was like, yeah, there's games that we play and that I'll sit down and play that I don't love, but I'll play them with you all because you love them, and it was whatever. And so this whole conversation of Bravo and the housewives and all these things, I'm putting these things into a different perspective for me coming into this year. And maybe it's because I'm married now, and so I'm settling down. But it was,
and we'll be forced to watch Bravo. No, I'm just kidding.
all of these things are kind of being housed under this roof of like, let's just let people enjoy things and not think so heavily on them that we make it miserable for other people.
I'm imagining your coworkers trying to actually read the legislation cards in Secret Hitler.
And it's just little bars.
Like, I don't
just
agree
represent-
with this.
She talked about how, like, oh gosh, about how even the word Hitler, like her parents grew up during World War II, and I'm like, okay, I get it. This game is not glorifying Hitler, and this game is not condemning you as a conservative Christian person in the 21st century. It's a cartoon game that's not historically accurate, and it's just a theme to get you to a game mechanic. Enjoy the game mechanic because the game mechanic is fun. I couldn't even say, she wouldn't let me say liberal or fascist. For the rest of the game, I had to say non-Nazis and Nazis.
Gosh, that's too much.
I'll let you borrow Werewolf next time.
It was
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
That's
okay,
so
sorry,
frustrating
Lauren.
because like the game, it's not that there's anything wrong with like playing that game. It's just this wording really tripped up this person. I do sort of, I'll have like a little bit of empathy on like, this is a very triggering word choice or whatever, but that is like over
I know,
the
but
top.
like, can we just like
No, I
Can
do
we
think
grow?
like if you're
Can we, like, move?
it
Can
was
we
the same
move
thing
to
of
a
like
place of
Jojo
growth?
Rabbit when that came out. Like a lot of people couldn't get over that it was like, well, you're playing Hitler. It's like, yeah, but it's clearly making fun of Hitler. Like, did you watch the movie? Like,
And we can't. I don't know.
yeah.
We
But
got
anyway,
it jumped into a whole
nuance. Hey, it's a thing.
it jumped into a whole conversation of anti-Semitism and how it's a real
Oh,
thing. And
no.
I'm like, you got. I'm trying not to say her name, but I'm like, you really got to work with me here. Like this.
Yeah, no.
Can we just please? We're this is a fun time for us. Like, can we just move past it? Anyway, okay.
Anyway, yeah. Yeah, we talked about too many things. I'm gonna save my thing for next week. Then it'll be like a thing to share. So perfect.
We're just holding stuff over. Okay, great.
No, it's okay. It's a good thing. I've been
Well,
waiting
I
a
would
long
like-
time on this one. I told you already.
I wasn't going to talk about this because I thought it was non-controversial, but now that I know it, that there might be some opinion, I think I should talk about it. Hitler's bad. All right, next thing. Okay.
We've covered this officially. Hitler is bad.
Yeah, it's important. The official stance of the Master of One Network
Master
is
of
that
Podcast.
Hitler is not a good guy.
Yeah.
Nazis also bad.
Now
We
that we're
love
past
Jews.
that,
We love Jews.
We
Jews
love
are
'em.
great.
I do want to real quick mention there's actually a few movies we didn't get to talk about because of the timing of the wedding and in the year, time off, whatever. There is one game that I did play in the last week, so it feels appropriate to talk about, and that is Hand to Hand Wombat. This
I was
is a
gonna say we're
game that Luke picked up. We were potentially going to play it before the wedding, and believe it or not, people were busy, especially
Can you believe that?
I can't
especially
believe
the
it at
people
all.
he was hanging with. And so we didn't play at the wedding. We got a chance to play it afterwards. We threw a video of this in the Slack channel, but the idea is that this is a game that it's all part of the game, including the box itself is the play area for the game. And you have these, they call them pillars in the game, but just imagine like a small pole that you're trying to, put different size, like from largest to smallest rings around. So you're trying to build these like triangular shaped or conical shaped like towers. And the idea is that your eyes are shut and you're having to build these in a time limit with your eyes are shut. Let me say this, in the time limit they give you in the space with 4 people, even all working together, it's not necessarily a given you're going to get it built. It's surprisingly difficult, at least in the first few playthroughs. I think we probably did like
We came up with some good
5
strategies
playthroughs or
as we
so,
came
yeah.
along. Yeah.
But you're not all working together. There is a certain number of people, depending on how many are playing, that are actively trying to sabotage the work. And on top of that, depending on the current score of the game, the number of people trying to sabotage will change. So it's not as simple as like good player, bad player. There are kind of like levels of inhibited and then a purely bad wombat. And so depending on your how inhibited you are, you have to rely on other people, and then those people may turn out to be sabotaging the work that you're doing. All this to say that there is a hard mode for this game. I don't know that we were able to successfully beat it on easy mode.
No. Yeah.
Much
No,
less
you guys
beat
won
it
the
on a
last
hard mode.
round. You guys won the last round.
We did
We did.
we got
Yeah.
very lucky with the vote out. But all that to say, Hand to Hand Wombat, it's a fun party game, especially for people that probably don't play a lot of games. It's quick. I mean, the rounds
Yeah,
are
it was
literally
very
like 3
fun.
minutes long once you know the rules, and it only takes maybe 10 minutes or so to understand the rules and to actually do the first setup. I will say if you play this a lot, you will destroy the box. So if you like the game, maybe go ahead and plan on like replacing that piece early on, so that way you don't destroy the thing that contains the game. That's the part that kind of annoys me, is that it will not last long if you're playing it with any regularity.
Well, and it's important to say this too. Becca enjoyed playing the first round of it, but she bowed out of it because it was so stressful for her. So like
we were
there is-
really getting kind of intense. I mean, like I thought it was like funny intense, but like it was like
Mackenzie
a lot of
punched her.
yelling and stuff. Yeah.
square in the mouth. But it was
Because you have your eyes shut while you're playing the game. There's just a lot of like yelling and you get excited, and like it was fun, I thought. But yeah.
I could see it being stressful for people for sure.
Yes, it
Sure.
definitely like took a second, but like yeah, I thought it was fun. I was also the bad one every time, so different kind of stress.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked out, but you were the
Literally,
wicked
I'm just
one.
a very wicked wombat.
If you have maybe young teenagers or older kids, or I know there's overlap there, but if you have that area of person in your household, I could see this also being a potentially fun game. to play with those people. Now, if you collect board games, if you have any amount of space in your house dedicated to board games, you're probably not going to care about this very much. But in terms of like easy to play,
fun,
something that you can do literally 3-minute rounds. That's so fast.
No, it's only like
All
90
ages,
seconds.
like great,
If you have people that you play with who are prone to cheating, do not play this game with them. Because
that's probably better, because like
it's very
I don't
easy
know.
to cheat in this game.
Yeah.
And if you cheat, then you are at a wild advantage if you cheat.
Yeah, completely.
And it's easy. This game is relatively easy to cheat because everybody is supposed to have their eyes covered. And so for people who aren't cheaters, they're not going to catch the cheaters because
you're right. Maybe it was 1.5 rounds. But yes, what you're saying
the actual
is true.
timing was 90 seconds, but then obviously you have the voting and stuff. So probably 3 minutes total.
Yeah. To your point, the balance of the game is like razor thin and arguable.
Yes.
So anything that affects that just makes it impossible for one side or the other.
I also think like if you played this game too many times with the same people, it would get boring quickly because like you come up with a strategy and like you guys were starting to, and it just becomes like you do the same thing every time.
Well, yeah. I could say 10 more minutes worth of stuff on it, but
I know, but the videos of us playing were really funny. So check them out on Slack because like that was hilarious.
Legitimately thought there was a ghost involved.
I was like crying, laughing, playing the game. Like it was so funny.
And here's the thing. I think that is the best proof for a game like this because as much as we can talk about like the long-term whatever.
Yeah, we had fun,
a lot of
fun playing it. Yeah.
We had a lot of fun, laughed, some of the hardest laughs of that weekend. Yeah. And I know Mackenzie Peter Pants at one point.
Yes.
So it's important I tell all of you that.
Yeah.
And so from that standpoint, it's worth picking up the game, play with a few people. If any type of party game just sounds interesting, then give it a try. I think it's
it was a good time.
I love that Mackenzie said she almost accidentally cheated. You definitely cheated because you picked she picked up the towers. Like that's you're not.
I'm
allowed
like never. Mackenzie's
You're
innocent.
not allowed to pick up the towers, so you definitely cheated. But it was accidental because you didn't know at the time. But you didn't.
The rules are so
almost
loose.
accidentally cheat. You definitely accidentally cheated.
Anyway,
but that was a great game. It was fun. It was fun.
It was.
That's it for my whatever. So let's get into the meat of this episode.
Okay, well then that's going to be it for our Around the Table. Up next, let's talk about some master categories. I'm workshopping more of a sultry.
Your ASMR voice.
Think about that.
I have
this when we.
If it wasn't for like the health,
you have to talk slightly faster.
If it wasn't for the health certainties, I would be interested to know like maybe if I smoke a pack a day, like what my voice turn out, and would I sound better as a person?
I know what I will sound like if I became a heavy smoker because every night at like 11 p.m. to 11:15, somewhere in that range, my voice just switches and it gets really gravelly and it drops about an octave.
Do you love it?
Yeah, there's certain songs I can only sing at that time of day. There's like,
I love it. You're like a like musical werewolf. I can only sing these songs after 11 p.m.
Truly, it's true. I mean, my voice changes so dramatically. If Becca is watching this right now, she can attest to this. But like it really, it's like a total switch.
That's crazy.
And if I want to record specific things, like if I want a specific vibe with something, then I should just wait until late and record that way.
Hey, before these master categories, Lauren, I just want to let you know I only have 2 episodes left in the Legends season of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes. Okay, Patrick and I watched lots of Drag Race together, and I'm really glad I got you hooked.
I think that's wonderful for both of you.
I'm so happy.
I'm rooting for Jinx Monsoon. That's who I'm rooting for.
I mean, she's kind of like dominates that one. Monet and Shay are like some of my favorite queens ever, though. So like, I love that they're.
I will say the most fun name to say is Shea Coulee. That one rolls off the tongue very nicely. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that's the little update that I want to throw in. So anyway, Andrew, you can take us to the next part of the episode.
Every week we talk about the dice we rolled the week before. Those dice give us our categories. We pick our topics based on those categories. I want to know what you're going to do, Patrick. So why don't you kick us off?
Great. I had books, I think, this week. At least that's what I remember having.
As
And
I
I was
recall,
thinking
yes.
about, well, what are books made of? And the answer is words, which is good for me because I love words. So this is my roundabout way of saying that I want to talk about crosswords. And the reason I want to talk about crosswords this week, here's the thing. I was going to talk about it no matter what. But the reason is this week I'm passing a personal milestone, and that's that specifically New York Times crosswords and the daily crosswords, not the minis, but like the I guess full-size crosswords. This week I will pass 1,000 solved personally, and I'm very excited about this milestone. This is something I've been working towards for the last year and a half, and
That's awesome.
yeah. And I want to share just a couple quick things that I've learned about the process of solving crosswords for those that are interested. Before I started, I saw crosswords as this, like you had to be smart to do those. That's how I thought about it. Like people that solve crosswords are like somehow this higher form of, mental being. And
Yeah.
I'm not that. Like I'm not saying I started because I saw myself that way. I actively do not consider myself that.
Started from the bottom, now you're here.
And so there was this shroud around it, and I wanted to see, is it something I could actually get good at? I also believed that in order to be good at solving crosswords, you had to be really, really smart. That's the other thing that I mistakenly believed. And what I've learned through now about to cross, I'm at like 996 as I'm recording this. What I've learned through solving 1,000 crosswords plus minis is that you don't have to be really, really smart to do it. And that so much of being successful solving crosswords has nothing to do with the answer, or very little to do with the answer, and everything to do with how you can make sense of the clue. So the clue themselves for the crossword, yes, you have the surface information, but there is so much more like hidden information packed in there that once you understand those things, it becomes really, really easy, or a lot easier to find the answer itself. So I wanted to tell you a couple of the patterns that are common for those that are solving crosswords. And this is going to culminate in me creating my first crossword, which is something that we'll talk about later, I'm sure, that whole process. But so a couple of cool things I've learned from solving crosswords. So for the clues give a lot of information, and I want to give a couple of examples how. Number one, if a clue has something like, for instance, like it ends in SP, then that could mean that will mean the answer's in Spanish. However, if the clue references a place that's in a Spanish-speaking country, then that also means that the answer is going to be in Spanish. Similarly, if the clue is referring to something and it mentions a boot, which we would know as being like a trunk in like the UK, then that means the spelling of the answer is going to be the way you would spell that answer in the UK. And so,
yeah.
so it's not just if it could explicitly call out the language it wants, but it also could just reference a different country in the clue, and then that means that the answer is also in that language, or that means that the answer is found in that country. Another thing is if an answer ends in a question mark, it is a cheek, or if a question, ends in a question mark, and I know you're thinking, don't they all their questions? No, only some of them do. It means the answer is a bit cheeky. Okay, so the answer is not like a direct answer, but it still works, but it might work in a sarcastic way or a funny way or like a sideways way.
Do you have examples of some of these things?
I can pull up some examples in just a second, but
The question mark one specifically. The other one makes sense to me, but the question mark one,
yeah.
I would love to understand that.
But yeah, I can give examples in a second. But yeah, if it ends in a question mark, then that means that the answer will be maybe kind of punny. The other thing is capitalization matters. If something's proper, it will be capitalized. So if the word Subway has a capital S, then it's talking about the franchise. It's not talking about the location. However, all clues start in a capital letter. So you always have to ask yourself, is the first word actually a proper word that they're disguising by putting it at the front of the clue? So if a clue starts with the word Subway, it's always going to be a capital whether or not it's a proper place. And so then that's something you have to question. Now, if you're solving earlier in the week, so if you don't know, the easiest crosswords are on Monday, and the most difficult crosswords are on Saturday, and then Sunday's the big one, but I would say like from an ease standpoint, it feels more like a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So if you're earlier in the week, if you're solving on a Monday or a Tuesday, you can kind of assume the tricky stuff isn't there. If you're solving on a Friday or Saturday, that's when you really have to start paying more attention to those types of things. In terms, now here's the big one. I think the big one to know is the rebus element. And this is something that I know Andrew and we had a big conversation about this, but here's what I'll say. If you're solving crosswords, don't think about doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday for right now. Start with just Mondays. Mondays are great confidence builders. You'll start seeing some of these patterns in the clues. It's going to take you several dozen before you start like getting good at reading them, and then move on to Tuesdays. Once you feel comfortable with Tuesdays, move on to Wednesdays, etc. But once you get in the later weeks, you'll get introduced to rebuses. And without going into a ton of detail, because there's a lot of detail, the biggest thing you need to know is it is possible with crosswords to enter multiple letters into the same square. So there are times where an answer will require you to put like a full word inside the square, and then that will still read correctly for the across and the down. But if you've never seen a rebus before, that's like the most mind-blowing thing ever, and why would you ever do it?
You showed it to me.
Interesting,
We spent 15 or 20 minutes with you explaining it to me. I still don't understand it. You showed it to me. I still don't understand it.
There was a fun one that I remember that the theme of the crossword puzzle had to do with poker. And so if you're playing poker, everybody will have 2 cards for their hand. And so the way it worked is that there's 4 sides to a square, obviously, to a crossword. So there was a pair of cards hidden on each side of the crossword, which means there were 2 squares side by side that would have like a jack king or something like that. And you would have to enter in those like full words. And again, it all worked with the crosses and the downs. It was really, really cool. But typically it will fit into the theme. But you don't need to worry about rebus. If you're new to it, just work on your Mondays and Tuesdays. You will never encounter them. As you get farther in the week, you will encounter it, but it's a good thing to know. I am very excited now. Like I've finally got to the point where like the first time you find a rebus without knowing there's a rebus, like the first time you discover it yourself is it was such a great feeling. And I'm just now at the point now where like I can start to go, there must be a rebus in this one.
Can I ask you?
Is rebus spelled REBUS?
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just trying to. Okay, I've never heard this word before.
Can you tell me? You mentioned that you and you're going to talk about this in a minute. You've shifted to now maybe creating some of your own. Are you going to create them under the pen name of Rebus McIntyre?
Yes,
Please.
yes.
Please.
I clearly should.
Or if you go into drag, can that be your queen name? Please, Rebus McIntyre.
Rebus McIntyre, yeah.
Yes, it's so good. Welcome to the stage, Rebus McIntyre.
Rebus McIntyre.
It won't be. Now the last
Get an applause, please.
All right, the last 2 kind of examples that I'll mention is that if a clue has an abbreviated word in it, then the answer will be an abbreviation. So if a clue is referencing a direction, but instead of spelling out direction, it just says DIR, that means that the answer is going to be an abbreviated direction in that case. So keep in that in mind. Now, it's also possible on a Monday or Tuesday, it might just end and say like ABR for abbreviation or ABRV, whatever they put. But later in the week, it'll just have an abbreviated form of a word or a slang form of a word, and that's your clue. The last thing is that sometimes you'll read a clue, and it'll say, like, see this other clue. So it'll say, like, see 12 across. What that means is that 12 across is the first part of the answer, and it will have the actual question, and then the answer is repeated into that space. So that's the whole point. It just means that some clues take up multiple acrosses or multiple downs, and that's how you know that's the case because there won't be an associated clue, and it'll tell you what the starting one is. In terms of questions, so here's a good example. Here's a question that's a ton of bricks. Well, it ends in a question mark, and because it ends in a question mark, bricks are not the types of bricks you would think of. So the first type of brick you would think about would be masonry related.
Lego.
In this case, it's Lego. And the way you know it's not what you think of is it ends in a question mark. And so that's the point of...
Because it's more like a case of bricks or a ton of bricks, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And again, so they're a little cheeky. That's the thing. They typically aren't going to be the first thing you think of. So anything with a question mark, just assume your knee-jerk reaction to that is wrong. Now, the last bit of this is the more you do them, there are plenty of answers and clues and words I did not know, but this may not surprise you. There's a lot of repeats in crosswords. I did not know what an EP was, E-P-E-E. Apparently, it's some like Olympic sport where you stab people with swords, or EPs. I guess that's what the actual sword is called. I never knew that.
This.
But guess what? It shows up on one crossword, and then it shows up on two crosswords, and now I see it like at least once a week. I feel like I see the clue EP come up. The eat and 8 different forms
There
of that
are
were
definitely like I play a game called Word Cookies on my phone, like certain like 3-letter
Thank
words
you.
that you need like to know as like those like I don't know, they're like crossword buzzwords, like eon because it has so many vowels. Like that's one, it always comes up.
And Kreider's telling me that it's pronounced epe or ipe. I don't know. I'm going to call it EP forever because I've been doing 1,000 crosswords where I've seen it dozens of times, and that's how I say it to myself. And
There
I
are
will never say it
dozens
another
of
way.
them.
Dozens.
But the point is, there's another piece of crosswords, which is that you just see clues repeated a lot or answers repeated a lot, and therefore you just spot those and you fill them in. BTS, guess what? If someone is talking about some like boys supergroup or they're talking about K-pop, the answer is BTS. That's what it's going to be every single time. You don't need to know what BTS is. That's the answer. And so that's the other piece. The more you do it, the more that you get used to those common clues. But anyway, crosswords, it's not a smart person's game. It's just as long as you do it, as long as you put the time in, once you do 50 of them or 100 of them, you are going to feel like an expert. And even though you'll look at a Saturday crossword day one and think, I don't know a single one of these, I promise you, by the time you get to 1,000 in, you'll maybe be able to get 50% pretty confidently. And then go from there. And now, average solve time, my Sundays on average take an hour. My Mondays on average take about 11 to 12 minutes. And then everything else falls somewhere on that scale. So that gives you an idea of how much time. But take as much time as you need. I have found that I'm smarter in the morning. So sometimes I'll start on a crossword at night when I'm going to sleep. And I'll just work on it till I get stuck. And I'll wake up in the morning and I'll think, why did Night Patrick not know this? And then I'll blow through like, 10 more clues. But anyway,
You guys
that's
both
my,
like transform at about 11 p.m.
That's
Don't
what
move
happens.
on yet.
I get dumber, you get better singier.
Don't move on yet because there's two things that I want to say. One, I think you are underplaying the level of intelligence that does need to go into that because there is a bit where, yes, you might not have to be the smartest person in the room to start, but inherently by doing this, you have become smarter. It is the kind of thing that you develop intelligence as you go. Even if the intelligence that you're developing is how to spot what they're asking, what they're really asking, that is a level of intelligence. So don't write off the fact that I don't think idiots can do this. Truly, there are people I know. There are people I know that I will not say names. They could not do this to save their life. If they had a gun to their head, they wouldn't be able to do it. You could give them 1,000 puzzles to try to make this thing happen, and I don't think it would happen for them. So don't underestimate the level of intelligence that is necessary for this. Now, you don't I think you get more intelligent as you do it because you're learning how to be better at it, and that's part of learning.
I'm just saying, like, I couldn't even qualify to go to like like UGA. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went to one step above a community college. So you don't. Okay, I do agree with what you're saying. And also, your starting position does not need to be genius.
Sure.
Your
you're
starting position could just be...
But if there's a person who is doing this every day, I do think that does
Over time, you
trigger...
get better. Yeah.
That does trigger for me the level of intelligence that person has because there is a stick-to-itiveness to it and a drive that is required to continue something, to do it that many times, that comes with the kind of person that you would want to spend time with. So I do think for me anyway, I do think that there is something like innately in this hobby that is a smarter way to spend your time. Like,
Yeah.
you have to know that this is better for your brain, Patrick, than
yeah.
Candy Crush is. Or
Mildly.
God forbid, Dr. Mario. I know I hate to say that, but
I would
you.
drop this in a heartbeat to go back to Dr. Mario.
Yep.
I will. So one other thing, if you do start solving one for the first time, read through all the clues. Don't start with one and not move off of it until you get it. Go through all the clues. When you get to the end, whatever you got's fine. Start over and go again. And if you keep doing sweeps like that, you'll find that with crossings, it'll fill in stuff.
Yes.
And even just one more letter can make a lot click. Number 2, if you specifically do the times crossword, I'll add you as a friend, and you can try to beat me in the daily mini, but I just don't think you
do
will.
it. It is the most disheartening thing. I do the daily mini every day, and I think I'm doing incredible. I'm answering this thing faster than it's even asking the questions, and then I look over at the leaderboard, and Patrick finished it 30 seconds faster than I did. And it's almost to the point where I legitimately
That's so
have said
funny.
to Becca, I have said this to Becca, I'll just go on record as saying, I'm like, he has to be fucking cheating. Like, that's, like, because I answered this as fast as humanly possible. I didn't stammer. I didn't get stuck on anything. My fingers didn't type the wrong thing.
Patrick's been
and
training.
he finished it 25 seconds earlier. Like, how? Like, I don't see how there's a physical. So, yes, you can follow Patrick and be on the and be his friend on that. But I urge you, don't. You're not going
You
to feel
could be
good about
Andrew's
yourself.
friend and make him feel better.
Please be my friend first. Help me out before you help him out. He's fine. He's fine. He doesn't need
Got it
any
covered.
more people going up against him on the leaderboard. So,
It's so funny.
okay.
Anyway, that's my introduction to crosswords. Do them.
Do
This
him.
was
There you go.
this was
yeah, this
what I
is
was going to
really
say.
cute and awesome.
Patrick did a crossword for our wedding newspaper. Most of the clues are about us or refer to things that are interests of ours or shared stories of ours or whatever. There's a couple that are just general knowledge questions to help tie everything together. But one of my favorite things about this is, like I said, we were doing the hidden Mickey game, and as you can see, there's a tiny little hidden Mickey down here in the crossword, but that's only there for the people who didn't take the time to actually go through and solve the questions, because two of these, the two on the outside over here, one says hidden and the other answer is Mickey. And so if you actually went through and found and took time to solve the puzzle, you would find that one of the hidden Mickeys was in fact in the crossword that Patrick put together. And it was super, super fun.
Yeah,
By
that
the
was,
way-
that was the whole newspaper idea you had was just excellent. I love that. I've never seen that before either. So
No one asked me to make a crossword. Way more difficult than I anticipated.
It was
Way more difficult than I anticipated.
Yeah, we worked on the structure of it together. We didn't work on the clues. I gave him some ideas as to some things that I wanted to do. Very, very impressed. I couldn't even solve the whole thing the first few times until I finally figured out a couple, but it was a lot of fun. So anyway,
Yeah, it's awesome.
Patrick is legitimately, if you ever need help with a crossword, Patrick would be the only person that I would point you to, because you are unnaturally good at that. So
get you unstuck.
Yes, so I mean that's it for me, Andrew.
That's a good.
that's a good.
That's a good.
We
Did I say it like that? I have been playing Mario today.
that's a good. So I got television, and in fact, something came out this past week that every one of us on this call, in a rare time where actually we all sync up on something, we're very excited about, and that was the return, season 2 of the American Traitors. And now we've talked about Traitors before, but I'm going to do a quick recap because there's a new season, and this new season is phenomenal. So The Traitors is a television show that is a secret identity game. It's a murder mystery, and you've got faithfuls and you've got a couple of traitors. Those traitors' responsibility is to try to kill different faithfuls along the way. The faithfuls' job is to try to identify who the traitors are and knock them off, banish them from the mansion. And all the while, both parties are trying to bring the prize money up as much as possible. So the ultimate prize money in the game is $250,000, but it could be way less than that. It just depends on how well the contestants do in these challenge style, or think of Survivor or the Challenge or whatever, the Amazing Race type thing. And these are these challenges that they have to do where they have to gain money and do various different tasks and things that are super fun and interesting. Usually, there's usually some level of like mystery to it too. Like they all kind of have a little bit of a dark tone to them for the most part. Like I think one of the first challenges in season 1, people were buried alive, like in a cemetery.
Yeah.
And they had to go try to find them in order to make money and save the people. So anyway, that's the general basis of the game. And the goal is to, again, identify who the traitors are to knock them off. Because traitors, if there is a traitor left by the end of the game, and they don't get banished from the house, then the traitors win the money. And they split the money. However many traitors.
Talking about Secret Hitler, it's kind of
It's very
the same
similar to
idea where there's like someone hiding amongst them as a traitor, and you have to kind of guess who it is and vote them out.
Yes. The piece that I'm leaving out of this, if you haven't seen the show, is the host and where it's hosted. And that is the just gloriously articulate and boisterous and flamboyant Alan Cummings. And I think the only thing more vocal than him in the show are his outfits. And they make a big deal of his style and his outfits. The whole show is hosted in the Highlands.
Fabulous.
Yes. The whole show is hosted in the Highlands of Scotland in this mansion that is absolutely gorgeous. And it feels like it's straight out of a murder mystery movie. So that's the premise of the show. This new season just came out on Peacock. It's a Peacock original now. I don't think it's even airing on NBC. I think it's just Peacock.
You're correct.
Now. And this year, it literally just started Friday. It dropped with 3 episodes. Thank the maker. That we could watch 3 back to back. It was so good. But this is the cast, and I'm not going to go into anything that's happened this season yet because it's still early enough. I don't want to give anything away, and I think you should absolutely be watching this show if you have Peacock.
Who are the celebrities that they had this
That's
season?
what I'm going to say. So here's the cast.
Great.
Here's the cast this year. Johnny Bananas from The Challenge, Peppermint from RuPaul's Drag Race, Marcus Jordan. So this is Michael Jordan's son, right? I believe, if I heard that correctly. Max, I don't know how to actually say his name, but he's one of the dancers from, like, one of the pro dancers from Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
He has a brother in the show. I absolutely recognized him right away. So Max is in it. John Burkow. So this is like an actual former member of the United Kingdom Parliament. So, which is crazy to have like a full-on like ex-politician in there.
No spoilers, but he gets beat up in every episode. Continue.
He's asthmatic, or is he? We'll find out.
If tragedy, like if something falls on someone's head, it's him.
It's gonna be him. It's gonna be the old man. So yeah, that's just keep your eye out for that. Karsten Bergensen. They just call him Bergie.
What a name.
He's from Love Island, so this is another reality star person. Trishelle from The Real World Las Vegas is in it. What is I don't know who Kate is. Oh, this is Kate. She's from Below Deck. I don't know who she is. I didn't recognize her.
We love
but,
Kate.
Okay, so Kate's
was she on the first season?
Wait, I think Kate was in the last season.
Yeah,
She's
that's
not
what I
in
was
it again,
thinking.
Is she?
I'm looking
Kate
at this.
I was like, what is
I'm looking
Kate's
at
last
season
name?
2
That's
on
driving me
Wikipedia.
crazy.
And so maybe they just got that wrong. So sorry.
Okay.
The rest of them are for sure.
Oh, I will be honest. You may have actually just spoiled something. I'll edit it out of the episode so we don't spoil anybody else. But there is something in the trailer that makes a comment about secret contestants. We don't know what it means yet, but who knows? Maybe that's actually a spoiler. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, it wouldn't be a spoiler from the standpoint that nothing has aired.
Yeah. I'm sorry if that's true. All right.
And Kate
I'll
was
just
in
say
season
that
one.
It's reality TV. This is
the rest
people
of the
take.
list, the rest of the list that I go through, I'll only read names of people I know. How about that?
Okay.
Because that was the one I was like, I don't recognize her name. Okay. Ekins from Love Island, UK, and Sandra from Survivor. So she's won Survivor twice. This is a $2 million reality star.
The queen
winner.
of Survivor.
And speaking of queens and kings, the king of Big Brother, Dan Giesling, is on from Big Brother 10, the winner of that, and he's like widely known as one of the best reality TV like contestants. You've got I don't know that name, so I'm just gonna keep going.
I was like, I just looked at a list, and there are a lot of like Real Housewives on the list, like from
so
Bravo.
Larsa, yep. So Larsa is on there.
That was interesting because I know her and Marcus Jordan started dating because of this show.
So they are on this because of this show.
Really?
Like
Because
that's how they met.
No, in this show they are boyfriend and girlfriend. They're brought on because of it.
I thought that they met on the show. I might have misunderstood this. Then totally.
Yeah, no, they're.
I must
well,
have just like misheard
If
that.
they did,
together,
they got serious quick.
Because
real
she's on
quick.
Real Housewives of Miami, and like this has been a whole
Yes.
thing because she used to be married to Scottie Pippen. It's a thing.
Okay. Yeah, she talks about that in episode 1.
Yeah.
And then Parvati from Survivor as well,
Okay,
who
I misheard that one.
who has also been a winner of Survivor.
One of the Black Widows, if I remember correctly.
Yes. And then you've got Deontay Wilder, who is a professional boxer, and then Cherie from the Real Housewives of Atlanta is on there, and
Who
then
gonna check me, boo? That one.
and,
Yeah, we know what that means.
Peter Weber. Yeah,
Everyone who
we all
knows
are familiar with that. Peter Weber from The Bachelorette, and then CT from The Challenge. It is
Love that guy.
quite a cast of people. No one is strangers to television other than maybe Bergie and John. They seem like they're maybe a little bit caught in the headlights a little bit. But this show is so much fun, the intrigue of it, and this year has even more twists in how they're doing the traitors and how they're doing the killings. And they've already introduced that there's a couple new twists to how they're going to be doing even the killings might happen and they may not happen. And so they've thrown
That's
out
smart.
a couple of things that it's not going to be just as cut and dry as the first season. So
I think that's smart because if you had watched the first season, you would have easily been able to create strategies based on like how things played out. And so like changing it is very smart.
yes. So anyway, television, brand new right now, season 2 of The Traitors. And if you've not watched the first season, go watch the first season.
Yeah.
Just watch the whole thing through. It's fantastic. There's a crazy twist that happens in that show.
I
go
like the
watch
UK
that.
version as well. Just to
The
throw
UK
that
version
in.
was
Like,
fine for me.
To me, I actually like the UK version better because the celebrity element doesn't add a lot to me. Like they do pick fun celebrities, and I think that part of it is fun, but I do think it divides the cast in a way that makes the game kind of unbalanced.
Not in this one. In this season 2, everybody feels like they're on the same playing field.
Even
Again,
though like you feel like there's no way that like all 3 traitors are one or the other. Like I feel like it's like already like a given that they're going to pick both groups, like things like that.
So there are 2 strategic notes I want to mention, and one thing about the number of traitors. The number of traitors isn't actually a given. I know you mentioned 3, but I know in the first seasons they would say it could be anywhere from 2 to 5, and you don't ever know
I
the
forgot
number.
that that's part of it.
The second thing is the strategic part changes. So if you watch the US version, I don't recommend binging them back to back because they're so similar and the
I
games
agree
are so
with that,
similar it's a
yeah.
bit overwhelming. But if you give it some space, in the US version it's all celebrities, which means everybody kind of knows everybody's business, which can help you and hurt you, but I think that's a fun dynamic. And then in the UK version, it's 50% celebrities and 50% non-celebrities, which means there's a group of almost like wild cards that no one knows anything about, and that adds a fun social dynamic. So I think they're both different enough that they're interesting. And then the last thing I'll mention is with this game, with Secret Hitler, with Werewolf, with all these games, the point of it is kind of a proof that a small number of people with
some knowledge,
all of the information basically, are more effective and more powerful than a large number of people that are like don't have full knowledge.
Yeah.
And I love that aspect of like it's so frustrating seeing it play out, but it's so interesting how many times that kind of seems to be true. And that, again, that's kind of the premise that all this stuff is built on. So I think they're all unique social experiments in themselves. And then finally, there is an Australian version that's also available to watch. But
I have not watched
Maybe
that
the
one
Aus-
yet.
I think the Australian one is the one that I started to watch and I didn't like. Maybe I haven't watched the
I think
UK
that
one.
might be the all famous one because I believe the British one is the all not famous people, and then
It's
the
50
US
British
one
is
was the
50-50.
50-50. Okay, okay.
British is 50-50. US is all famous. I've not watched Australia yet because I had binged 2 back to back. I have read that like the American version is more methodical and the Australian version is Lord of the Flies. So that's what I've read about it.
Oh, I want to
But
watch
I
the
haven't
Australian version
seen it.
so much more now.
Oh, maybe I watched the Australian one. Maybe that's why I didn't like it because it felt like it was too. It felt like the one that I watched felt too
Just too
chaotic, and it
mean
wasn't.
or-
It
yeah.
wasn't fun for me to like. If it's too wild card, then strategy doesn't play a role in it. And these games are
Right.
built for strategists, and it's so
Yeah.
fun to watch these
But
things
I-
play out.
Of the possible outcomes, which would be Traitors win, like there's possible outcomes where no Traitors are left, some Traitors are left, or
Even
What's-
just
there's a-
one traitors left, or like
Yeah,
you could
like, there's,
whittle
like,
them, they can
3
whittle down
possible-
themselves. Yeah.
exactly. There's like 3 possible outcomes. I will say of all the series that have aired, because we've had 3, plus we have 2 going right now. Every outcome has played out in a different series, which is also very cool. So with every
Yeah.
season, you will also get something different in terms of gameplay.
Yeah, the end of the UK one was literally like I was gasped, like I gasped out loud. Like
I was aghast.
I want to talk so badly about the ending of the US
Yeah.
one, but
I need
will,
it-
I will refrain.
yeah.
But it's such a good
We'll have a special
show.
traitor spoiler episode.
I like when new shows come out that kind of challenge what your expectation of this now very tropian form of television that challenge that, and I like that. I mean, I can still love Survivor, and I can still love The Challenge, and I can still love The Amazing Race and Big Brother. But they do kind of live in their own category of things. This one kind of steps outside of it just a little bit, and I like the darker element of it. I like that it feels
It's a bit diabolical. Like there's
Yeah.
some serious
Yeah.
strategy and planning, and you gotta like by the end of the show, you have to betray people. Like you.
And
kinda
when we
can't.
sit down, I look at Patrick every time we watch these shows together, and I just go, "I would love to play this game." Like, feel like,
I've thought about that. I would not like it at all, but you guys would be really good at it.
I feel like I would rule one of these games if
Mm-hmm.
I ever took a chance to actually like go on one of them. It would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
fun.
me. The Traitors season 2 streaming now on Peacock. Go back and watch season 1 first if you haven't, and then you've got plenty of time to catch up because it just kicked off this past Friday. It'll be releasing 1 episode every week until
On
this season is done.
Thursday.
On Thursdays on Peacock. All right, Lauren.
I love it. Now for something
Finish us
completely
out.
different. So all on my own, I have been watching Blue Eyed Samurai. I actually watched this all in one day yesterday because I just got so into it. My brother has been kind of nudging me towards the show for about a month now, and finally caved and watched 1 episode. And I was like, yeah, I really like this one. I'm going to watch the next one right away. And just like kept going. It's a really cool show. It's on Netflix. It's one of those things that like Netflix drops. They never advertise for anything. So you don't hear about it unless you hear word of mouth. So I'm very happy to talk about this. So the kind of general gist of this is during like the Edo period of Japan, there's this kind of half-breed samurai who is like half white and half Japanese, which is where the blue eyes come in, and is on like a quest for vengeance against these 4 white men who are the only white people in Japan when they were born. So one of them has to be their dad. And so it's kind of an interesting like quest to kind of like take over. It's like a very interesting like historical choice of when this takes place in Japan, because like this is when Japan like tried to close all of their borders completely and like close off their culture to like preserve it. And so like nothing from like Western influence is there until these characters that you're seeing in the show start taking place. And it's really, really, really cool. Like this is a new property. It's not based on anything. It's I think it's the animation company that does Arcane. So the animation
I was
is
just gonna say,
yeah,
it looks
I
like
do think
the
that
same
they're
animation as Arcane.
tied together. It's really cool animation style. The like colors, the cinematography, and the style that they use for this is outstanding. They did a lot of like I saw some stuff today after I'd watched the show that they did like film people fighting to like do the moves to make sure they're all like actually something someone could do. Even if it's like really, really hard for someone to do, it is physically possible somehow, which is insane when you think about some of the stuff that they have like later on in the show. These fight scenes are stuff that I'm going to be like remember for a very long time. And like people are going to have a hard time topping some of the stuff that comes up with in this show. It's ultra violent, very adult cartoon show. It honestly reminds me a lot of Game of Thrones because like very hard R rating. The violence is insane, but there's also a lot of like political and like sexual politics that go into the show that like are just as important as like the battles and stuff like that. So like it genuinely felt like this really cool like very elaborate little story. There is like a world where they could have ended this in one season, but luckily it has gotten renewed already for season 2, which is awesome because the ending is such a cliffhanger, and a lot of Netflix shows that I really like tend to end on cliffhangers like this, and then you don't get to find out what happens. But luckily they've already renewed this one. I'm very, very, very excited to hear that. And I like the more people that I've heard have watched this show have really liked it. It had 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is really rare. But it's just like a really cool, really well done show. Like it kind of follows like the hero's journey almost like by the book, but like doesn't miss a step and like comes up with really cool characters that by the end you're like invested in everyone's journey, not just the main character. And like I was really impressed because there's certain characters in the beginning I was like, I don't care about this person, go away, like go back to the battles please, like I want to know what's going on. And by the end I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened to her? It's really important that I find out what happened to her. Like it's really cool. So I think that they just nailed this show. Like everything about it is kind of impeccable, and I cannot wait to like that they're going to do more of this. Like that's really exciting.
I have a question.
For sure.
This definitely is a more simplified animation style than Arcane. Arcane is
It
a
is.
lot
It's not as
more rich.
But I think that the dynamic like action is kind of like what equals the kind of painting level they have in Arcane.
But here's my question. What is how did you say it? Sexual politics? What is that?
Like when like somebody wants to get ahead and they're a girl and they have no power, they'll like have sex with the right people to like, you know, maneuver themselves into a position of power.
Gotcha. Okay.
But like I just thought the show was so cool. Like I said, I binged it like almost immediately. I think it was like it's really cool. And there's a really cool backstory where like the main character is like a mixed race samurai, and the writers of the show are a couple who had a daughter, and they were surprised that she had blue eyes, and kind of just as a joke we're calling her the blue-eyed samurai, and then like came up with this story. And I thought it was funny because like when you see the credits, I'm like, I wonder if like how these people know each other. Like there has to be some relationship. And so when I found that out, I thought that was like a really cute thing that like they kind of made this for their daughter in a way. It's like really sweet.
Yeah, and you mentioned the writers. The writers are also the writers from Blade Runner 2049 and
Yes.
Oh gosh, I just read it a second ago. Something that makes total sense, and I'm blanking on it now. What happened to that photo of it from the writers?
While you look this up, I'll just say real quick, like it's only 8 episodes. Each one's about 40 minutes. Like this is really, like I said, easy to binge. Like you're just gonna want to keep watching the next episode to find out what happens. They end each episode on like a perfect cliffhanger. And I just really, really love this, and I'm definitely gonna be watching it again, like to catch all the little details and stuff. Like this is just a show worth loving.
You mentioned that it was very, very graphic and very
so
brutal.
Violent. There's certain parts where like
writer,
I'm pretty good and it's animated. And I'm still like, oh.
The writer of Logan.
So yes, that's right. That's right. Yes, and
that's pretty indicative.
And this
of
is
what
like, I think Logan is like a perfect comp because it's like this like battle hardened warrior going off on like their last fight. Like, you know, like this is either I win or I die, and that's the point of this. And it's a really cool show.
That's cool. I think I'll actually watch this. It looks.
I think you would really like it, Andrew. I think you would. I was like, Patrick, if you watch animated stuff, you would like it more. But I think it's a really cool show. Yeah.
But if you make them live action, Patrick will watch it. One Piece. I've been trying so hard, Patrick, to enjoy One Piece.
Have you made it through another episode? Have you even made it through one more episode?
Yeah, I've watched like 2 more episodes. Maybe
I was so hooked. I love that.
You got to the restaurant. Have you got to the restaurant yet?
I love the restaurant.
That might. I don't know. I don't know if I have, because I know what you're talking about, because it's in the. It's in the little pre-roll
meant like
that
the
shows up
chef
on
with the
Netflix.
mustache like that's braided like
Yeah.
that.
So I
But
can't
I'm saying-
know if I've seen it or if I've just seen the clip of it. I can't remember.
Sure.
I think that's probably my favorite episode of the whole season. It's
I
it's
agree.
episode 6 if I remember right. So
I remember you telling me how much I was gonna love
Is that the one with
clown guy.
Mihawk?
yeah, that's when you get introduced to Mihawk as well. Yes,
I love that
which is
one.
one of the reasons.
You told me that I would love the clown guy, and I keep trying to,
Bugsy.
and I don't
Whatever,
love.
Bubsy.
Buggy?
Buggy.
Buggy.
He reminds me of I think of like a 50s or no, like a 30s.
Bugsy, eh?
Yeah, exactly. That's always in my head. And that's not too far off what his voice sounds like. I'm surprised. I'm honest. If you're not hooked, realistically, if you're not hooked in episode 2, then maybe it's
Then
just
maybe
not for
just
you.
give up. Yeah.
But I will say, episode 6, the introduction of Mihawk, floating restaurant, and then the storyline.
Oh,
that
I'm definitely
continues
not
on
on.
with the
Sanjay
I'm
chef.
definitely
is
not on
my
episode
favorite,
6.
yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Definitely
this is
didn't make it
great.
to episode 6. So
Yeah.
I guess I've only seen the clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he
Great
says,
show.
I want all the bacon and eggs that you have. He says,
Yeah.
I'm afraid you heard me say a lot of bacon and eggs, but what I said was, I want all the bacon and eggs you have.
Aperitif. By the way, Brian Kessinger.
Yeah.
Awesome. Kate, just thanks for even bringing up his name, because it's great to remember how grave an artist is out there. But if you haven't checked out his stuff, go check out his stuff. Sorry, Kate was saying that you believe that Kessinger worked on some of this stuff.
Blue-Eyed
with
Samurai, I think. Yeah.
potentially. But whether
I
he did
believe
or
it's
didn't,
I believe it's Kessinger, because I did meet him at a Comic-Con, and I'm pretty sure that's his name.
I like saying Kessinger though; it feels nice. But so Kessinger EP, check out his stuff.
Okay, I think we're gonna round the bases on that then, and let's roll some dice before
do
we
it.
hop out of this episode. These dice, we haven't played D&D in a few weeks, and we've not
Says
recorded
you.
in a week, and so like it feels weird to hold a D20 in my hand, if I'm being
How
honest.
much do you feel
It's like I
like
played
Noah,
on Friday.
How much do you feel like Noah Elias's "The Kid in Me" was influenced by Brian Kessinger's stuff?
I don't want
Well,
to
anyway,
speculate
so I
on
got a
here.
6 and a 2.
I don't want to speculate
Cool,
on here.
cool.
I also got a 6, so you're gonna have to
Oh,
re-roll.
reroll, please.
Oh,
I got a
okay.
10 right now, but I'll wait till you guys roll.
I got lucky number 13.
And I got lucky number
Okay.
17.
Okay, so I got 10 that's going to be books, 13 is art, and 17 is TV.
Nice.
Thank
Guys,
you.
I feel like we're in our
Future-
I feel like we're in our zones
books.
for this.
I
this
know,
coming
yeah.
week. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. You can find show notes and links to everything that we've talked about over at mof1.network. While you're there, you can click on our archive to see hundreds, literally hundreds of episodes with stuff from over the years. We've been doing this for way longs of time, and you should just pop in there and see what's there to listen to. And hey, we don't usually do this, but hey, why don't we say, hop in there if you are a regular listener and just share a few of your favorite episodes on social media. Just say, hey, here's a couple episodes of a show that I really like that got me hooked 5 years ago. Here's the episode that was so special. Share it on social media. Let's welcome the new year and get some new listeners. You know what? Why not? It's not going to take you very much time to do that. And we like to share the things that we love. And so if you love us, share us. And while you're out there, you can find us on social media at M of One Podcast on all the different platforms. Be watching us on twitch.tv/M of One Podcast. It does not have to cost you any money to subscribe. If you are a Prime member, you can just throw your Prime subscription over here every month. And for all of you who are already doing that, thank you so much. And for those of you who have gifted some of these subscriptions in the past, thank you. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Leave
Yes,
us
thank
a rating and a review on the different platforms. And if you do it on on Apple Podcasts, let us know so we can go in there and read those. Patrick, do we know how we stand in where was it that we were saying? Bolivia? No, not
Barovia or something? I don't remember.
Sure,
Crocosia?
from Princess Diaries 1 and 2.
Moldova, was that it?
Moldova.
Yeah.
Moldova. Yeah. Do we know how we're faring with the Moldovanese right
You know
now?
what, I think we're just I think they've all forgotten about us and returned to their normal lives.
Okay. So
Damn.
Man, so if you want to get us on your map in whatever remote world that you live in, yeah, just drop some ratings and some reviews on there. It'll help share and let people know what we're all about. Okay, I think that's going to be everything. You guys are fun. Watch us on Twitch so you can be a part of the conversation so we can share
Wait, us or
your
the
messages.
community?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to put you down for one of each. We love you all, but for now, I'm Andrew.
I'm Lauren.
I'm Patrick.
For the first time in 2024, peace out.
Congratulations, Andrew.
Bye.
Wow.
I've already congratulated
Really
him.
phoned it in, didn't you?
I've already congratulated
I want to
him.
do something fun.
All says we forgot.
Da-da.
Does anybody
And
know
all the things we forgot, and we forgot the things that we forgot. We all forgot.
Hey, are the Emmys on right now?
No.
No, they happen on Sundays.
Yeah,
What are
Emmys
you
are on
talking
Sundays.
about?
The Emmys happen on Sundays.
I do think that is true.
Where
The
is it?
Emmys, the Grammys.
Nope, maybe
and-
not.
No, the thing that just happened was like the People's Choice something that just happened. The Emmys are on now.
What?
Yeah,
I'm
just
gonna
say
go-
live updates when I Googled Emmys
Yeah,
2024.
so I'm gonna go watch the Emmys.
Why are
No,
they
the
putting
big
on
dinner.
Mondays?
Over the weekend, yesterday was like People's Choice
They're like,
Awards
it's
or something. It
MLK
was like
Day. It
yesterday.
might as well be Sunday. I don't know.
What a
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah.
All right,
Emmys,
well, let's
Emmys
go.
are now, so everyone stop watching this. Let's go watch the Emmys. Bears
Why are
already
you
picked up some
watching this
awards.
anyway? We should have all been watching the Emmys. We'll see you next week, everybody. Peace out.
Yeah,
Adios.
yeah. Bye again. I'm turning up y'all's music. We're leaving. Bye.
Is this aggressive?
No,
Okay.
it's getting there.
It hurts.